Well, hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday morning Smash the Stash. Not necessarily a sew along, but I am sewing and you can sew right along with me. What I am doing is I am testing a pattern out for Mama J Enterprises. It is the Christmas Gnome. I am unable to show the pattern. I may be able to show you the finished product. It is Christmas Gnome. It is a Santa with a Christmas tree and some presents. I have down here on my table, and I'm not showing my fabrics because I don't want to give away measurements or anything, but you can just sew right along with me. I am smashing my stash. All of my fabrics that I am using were in my stash. Some of them were even in my scrap bin, and I was able to pull some out of that. I am trying different techniques doing this pattern. I'm trying it, do straight rows, one at a time. Today what I'm doing is I've pulled out all the fabrics for 5 rows, and I'm going to see if I can get all 5 rows sewn together, pressed, and assembled. Normally I would do 6 rows. I probably should do 6 rows, but I'm only doing 5. I want to see, because I know in my last time thing that I did, I only did 3 rows. So let's just get started. We're going to try to do this in an hour. And of course I'm going to start by just piecing together in pieces of 2. Oh, and I need to thread my needle. I put a new needle in. I've cleaned my machine, put a new needle in. I want everything to go smoothly, so let's hope this all goes well. And I may have to move my machine back over to the left a little bit, because I'm going to have to take those stitches out. But I'm also going to move my machine over a little bit, because I was binding, working on a quilt. And of course, when I do that, I move my machine over to the right all the way. Okay, now I have my machine moved over a little bit. I've got those stitches out. I was doing a slip stitch in the last thing I was working on, and I don't need that on this one. So, and I had forgotten to change my thread length. Okay, so how are you guys doing this beautiful Sunday morning? Of course, this is pre-recorded. I don't guess I need to keep telling you that, but if I have new people, they don't know that it's pre-recorded. Sunday is my day off of everything. I rest and have time with the family. I did get my quilts sent in to the quilt shop for the quilt festival. Found out it's called a quilt festival, not a quilt show, because it is not, the quilts are not being judged, which is fine. I'm happy just to put one in for people to see, and it kind of lets me know what to expect. Like, I did do a sleeve, but I didn't know what size sleeve they needed. And I did talk to Miss Sheila there at the quilt shop, and she explained to me how they do their sleeves, which I'll know that next year. And I know I had purchased a sleeve, but I have no clue where it's at. Somewhere in all this sewing stuff that I have up in this room here. And what I'm doing is I have 5 sacks of fabric here in front of me, like I said. And I'm just working row at a time. I've got 5 rows right here in front of me. And now this little pattern, you can change it up how you do your fabrics. You know, what fabrics you use. Just like any other quilting project. You know, just whatever fabric you use can determine, you know, what what your project's gonna look like. I could have done a hot pink Santa Claus. But I do have quite a few projects that I'm gonna be putting out this weekend for the next week. Because I will not be sewing. Today is actually Friday. I will not be sewing at all Saturday or Sunday. Because I will have my granddaughter. And her Grammy, we gonna watch movies. We gonna play and watch movies. And read books probably. Because she loves reading books. And y'all, at an hour, I'm going to keep an eye on the time to see, kind of like where I'm doing a time trial here, what seems to be I know what would be the fastest, or what I think would be the fastest, and I'm not going to do that one on camera. I will do that one individually for myself so I can provide notes on that. But I am loving these. I love working Christmas projects. I love Christmas colors. I love Christmas fabric. I love everything about Christmas. So when Andrea asked for testers for this, I knew I was in. Okay, now instead of stopping right here, this is the end of a row, but instead of stopping right here, I'm going to cut myself a marker and then just put it under and then start my next row. That way I'm not stopping and I can do multiple rows at one time. And we can see how far we get with this. Now, I know when I start pressing, I am going to have to, decide which way to press each seam to assemble the parts. But I think what I'm going to do instead, well, probably what I should do, I'm thinking this out in my head, y'all. I did the first 3 rows and assembled them, so maybe I should do it in rows of 3 and assemble rows of 3, and after I get the rows of 3 put together, then assemble the rows of 3 together to make rows of 6. That may be an easy way to do it. And I'm hoping I didn't pull too many fabrics, because that will make me have to take rows apart. But I feel pretty confident that I was very careful not to pull too many blocks. This fabric that I have right here, this red, I think is Sweetwater. I don't remember the line, but I'm pretty certain it was Sweetwater. Now, when I start assembling the sets of 2 into sets of 4, I will have to refer to the pattern to make sure I'm doing the fabrics in the correct direction. Okay, and this is my row 2. Okay, so we're going to cut us a strip. And then start row 3. Now, the piecing part is not the hard part. When you start going and putting the 2 assembling into longer rows, that's the part that's going to take a lot of time. Okay, right now we're only in 20 minutes and we're on row number 3, just piecing the pieces together. And I was hoping I would have a full sewing day today, but that's not going to happen. I am going to be able to sew a little bit today. I'm going to be able to get this done and out for you guys. Now it is already after lunchtime, so, and I just got started on this, but I have some other things I'm needing to do while we have nice weather. I need to get outside and finish some yard work outside on my porch, my garden. I had one rose bush that I didn't get to trim, and I'll trim that one back. I think we probably are going to have 1 or 2 more mowings done on the yard before the season ends. We need some rain. I know there's so many places that are flooding, but we need some rain. We've not had any rain. I think we got a little bit of rain, maybe, with the hurricane. It did not come this direction, so we did not get much off of it. Okay, that is row 3 done. We're clipping our piece here. Going to run that under and then get started on our next row. This will be row 4. Now, I know putting the rows together in 2x2s is going to take a little while because, as I said before, I will have to refer to the pattern to make sure I'm putting the sections in the correct directions. And for some reason, I'm feeling like I need a nap today. I know why. I didn't go to bed until 1:30, and then I was up at 6:30. But a nap sounds really good. I don't normally take naps, but hey, I'm up for one today. I may take me a nap after I finish this. I don't know. I'm getting a low bobbin signal on my machine right now. That seems to have been my luck here recently. Every time I sew, I run out of bobbin or thread. I will sew as long as it will let me until it runs out, and then I'll refill the bobbin. I think what I'll do is I'll take one of these spools instead of messing with my spool on my machine. Okay, I'm going to have to do some measuring here. So I got a piece that's too long. Well, that was a little time delay there, having to trim that off, because when I put it next to this other one, I knew it wasn't the right size. Okay, that is row 4. Pieces have all been done. So now we're starting row 5. Okay, so that is row number 5 now. So I have completed all the 2 pieces. I've put 2 pieces together on all of those. What I'm going to do is start trimming them apart and laying them back down in rows. And I do have my markers that help let me know where my rows were. Okay, I now have all of my pieces cut apart. So now I am going to start assembling them into, I'm growing my rows into sets of 4. So what I have to do is, okay, I see all of these are going all blues. So I don't have to look at this one to see. Only when I have a color change will I need to be referring to the pattern, so it should go fairly quickly. Now, my next test that I'm going to be doing I will do that off camera, and I won't record it, and I won't tell what I did. I'll just report my findings back to Andrea with Mama J Enterprises on my test, on her patterns, to let her know which technique seems to be the fastest. It looks like I broke a thread. Now, when assembling these into 4 rows, what is essentially going to happen is you're going to have one set of 2 still hanging out there for each row. So what I'm doing is leaving each one of those laying on my table, and I'm using my row markers again. Okay, I'm beginning to think that doing the rows this way is definitely going to take more than an hour. But I think the last time I only got the rows sewed together but not assembled. I don't know, I might have. I cannot remember. It's been a minute since I did it, so. Okay, so here is my second row is completed with the ones that I can do. We're going to put our little row marker in there. And y'all, I apologize if I'm sniffling and stuff. I am still trying to combat this. They call it bronchitis. I call it a nuisance because I'm having coughing fits, and I'm not subjecting y'all to that. But I am having coughing fits that are taking my breath away. And that's probably why we've already been here for an hour, is because I've had several of them already. And you would think after 2 weeks of antibiotics that it would be getting better, but it actually seems to be getting worse. The coughing does. But the doctor did tell me that the cough medicine that she's given me does have a decongestant in it, and it should make me have a productive cough, which it is, to the point of taking my breath away. And I have a viewer, Sharon. She said her husband is dealing with something right now, and I hope he starts feeling better, Sharon. I mean, it's just awful when you feel bad. I've actually had several people tell me that they've been kind of dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with too, and oh my goodness, I hope y'all get better, because I know it is hard, and it is a very big struggle right now. Okay, row 3 is done. Well, not done, but close to done. So now, technically we are on row 7 of the pattern, but it is my row 4. It feels good to be able to use up this fabric that I was afraid I was going to have a big piece of it left over. I wasn't going to have anything to use it for. Now, I have gotten my AccuQuilt dye in, And that will help because I can do some pre-cuts. And the die I got is for larger pieces of fabric to be able to cut them down into usable pieces, you know, into actual quilt pieces. And I think what I will do is all of my larger fabrics, I don't know if I'm going to cut them in 2.5-inch strips or 2.5-inch squares, because that's what I got. I got a 2.5-inch die, and it takes larger pieces of fabric. And I have several scrap bags that have some larger pieces of fabric in them. I really hate to cut them down into anything, but knowing that, I don't know, I think some of them I could probably use, but I think getting them cut down into sizes and sorting them out by color and putting them in boxes may help me. Guys, I know I'm really quiet today, but I'm trying not to cough, which I'm not being very good at that. Okay, so now that is our rows being built to 4. So what I'm going to do is trim these apart and lay them back in their rows. Because remember, I still have the 1 2-piece over here that still needs to go. I still have that 1 2-piece over here that still needs to go on the rows. And guys, I think I'm going to stop right here. I know this is going to be a pretty short video, but I can't seem to stop coughing right now. So I'm going to end right here. And we'll pick back up next Sunday on this, maybe. If not, if we're not picking up on it Sunday, you will be seeing it in an update. Definitely not tomorrow, but maybe next Monday. So guys, thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you've not yet. Please feel free, leave a comment, tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Goodbye.